Welcome to NKY at a Glance. My name is Ryan Salzman, and I'm here with Janet Hara to talk about the nuts and bolts of Northern Kentucky, what makes Northern Kentucky unique, and also how we can use our region and other regions in the Commonwealth to understand things just a little bit better.
So to get started, let's talk about the structure of Northern Kentucky. We have 3 counties, Boone, Campbell, and Kenton. We have 34 incorporated cities, 66 special taxing districts, and 17 independent school districts and/or county school districts. We're going to compare ourselves today to Fayette County, which is home to Lexington, and to Jefferson County, which is home to Louisville. We're going to look at both how our economic trends have been over the past decade, and we're also going to look at how we spend our money and how that compares to Fayette and Jefferson County. And we're going to start off by looking at population growth.
And when we think about how we understand economics, this is about people, this is about jobs, and this is about payroll growth and payroll rates. And so first we'll talk a little bit about the population of these 3 different regions.
So one of the things that's very notable, if you look on the left-hand side, is that Louisville is by far the largest of the 3 areas that we're looking at. But it's also important, size is not the only thing that matters, it also is how are you moving over time. And when we look at the growth rates, you're going to see that in most cases, Northern Kentucky is either matching or exceeding both Louisville and Lexington in terms of growth. Here you can look at jobs by county, and you can see again, Northern Kentucky is far outpacing the other 2 areas. When we look at earnings by county, we're kind of even, a little bit behind Jefferson County. That's a function of not only are we creating more jobs, but what are the average earnings of the jobs we're creating. And then this is looking at gross domestic product by county, which is the most comprehensive measure of the economy that we have. And you can see over the past decade that Northern Kentucky has far outpaced both Fayette and Jefferson counties. So the bottom line is that we're doing very well as an economy over the past decade.
Now, we can only read so much into that data, but this is just at a glance, so we hope that those statistics will help you. But now starting to look at some of those government expenditures and government structures, of course, we know that Northern Kentucky is different from a lot of other regions in the country, but nonetheless, we're going to keep comparing it to these other regions as well, because we do think that they are very comparable with one another. So first, we're going to start by looking at those expenditure levels kind of across the top, like this high-end number of what we're looking at. What are we looking at here, Janet?
So we're looking at per capita expenditures. In other words, we've adjusted the expenditures for the number of people that live in the different counties. And the orange counties, the orange bars are the most comparable because Lexington has private water service, and of course the other 2 areas, those are municipal expenditures, or in our case of Northern Kentucky, they're a special district.
And that's our first indicator that things are really different.
Yes.
I think that, and this chart, I think, really starts to capture what is very unique about Northern Kentucky and the way that we structure our governance here in the region.
Yes, in Northern Kentucky, half of all expenditures are via special districts. And when you look at the next graph, you see that's very different. In Louisville and Lexington, over 90% of all expenditures are actually municipal expenditures. They go through the city, whereas here, half of every government expenditure dollar is going through a special district.
Yeah, so we're going to say that again. I think this is really worth repeating, is that over half of all of our expenditures, all of our governance and public expenditures are through special districts, which is so different from how things are done in Fayette and in Jefferson counties. But nonetheless, now let's go ahead and look at those different areas in which we spend these government dollars.
So here's looking at general government. Again, what you're going to see over and over is our expenditures are different, but some of that's just a categorization because a lot of this general government in Northern Kentucky is via special districts. The next graph we're looking at is public safety. That's police, fire, EMS, etc. Here you can see that our expenditure levels are very similar across the 3 areas. The next set is per capita expenditures on roads. Here's an example of where just looking at the dollars can be a bit misleading. If you look at the next graph, you can see that one of the things that's really driving the differences in per capita expenditures on roads is simply the fact that Northern Kentucky has a much bigger geographic area. The population density is much lower, so you would expect, all else equal, that our expenditures per road mile would be higher simply because we have more roads and they're not densely populated. We see very similar, again, big differences in park and recreation expenditures, but again, Per capita expenditures only tell you about the dollar side. They don't tell you about the amenity side. And it's simply that some of these areas have more parks and more amenities than we have in northern Kentucky. The education, again, this is an example where we spend very differently. All of our library expenditures are running through special districts. In Louisville and Lexington, those are municipal functions.
Yeah, so think about, again, that pie chart, just as a reminder, over 50% going through those special districts. And here, again, perfect example of one of those special district areas.
And then another one of these is public transportation. Again, you can see we spend less per capita than the other two areas, but if we look at the next, again, for us, that is primarily driven by the fact that we have fewer routes in tank than do Louisville or Lexington comparably. If we go to looking at per capita expenditures by public health, again, this is where we spend very differently. All of our public health, by and large, is spent via a special district, which is the Northern Kentucky Health Department. In Louisville and Lexington, those are run as municipal functions. This is a good news one because government pensions and benefits, they are difficult for everyone to fund, and our rate is much lower than either Louisville or Lexington. So that's good news for Northern Kentucky, particularly in the long term.
All right, Janet, so what are our key takeaways?
Well, I think we have three primary. One is that our economy has done very well the past decade when we compare ourselves to Fayette and Jefferson County, and I expect that pattern to continue. However, our government structure is very different from either Fayette or Jefferson County. We spend a lot more money of our money through special districts. And I think it's a real cautionary note that direct expenditure comparisons should be done with caution. Because we spend so differently, you can't always tell that the categorizations are going to be the same across geographies.
Well, there you have it. That's NKY at a glance.
Thank you.